The interwebs, home to some of the most degenerate and decrepit online subcultures that are just oozing and stinking with the worst types of people imaginable. On this Saturday interwebs, you could be unfortunate enough to come across several of these types of degenerates. Furries, bronies, extreme anime gooners, what have you. Now, the average person on the interwebs thankfully knows how to avoid these wormholes if they even know of the existence of these crazy ass subcultures at all. But sometimes these normal people, sometimes they be slipping up, and that means that I sometimes be slipping up. This was that time, that very unfortunate time, that I found myself on the degenerate side of the interwebs. So allow me to take you on a little trip, but back to a couple of months ago. One day, I'm lying in bed, bored out of my head. I don't know what to do, so I do what everybody does. I grab my phone. I open up the YouTube app and I'm at a loss of what to watch. Okay, so there's these videos where a guy is just giving out criminal sentences to animated characters for being a couple of pricks. Nah, I'm not trying to watch anything too crazy today. Or how about these amateurish, funny ass storytime videos? Nah, the guy rarely uploads. It's like he got married or some stupid horseshit. You know, I miss the past. I miss the good old days and all the stuff I used to watch back then. Peak childhood. Or I guess you'd call it teenagehood, I have no idea. Now what was it that I was bumping on the daily when I was still in middle school? It's been so long and I can't remember nothing. Oh wait. And then it came to me, this one anime that I watched with my old friend at the time, years ago, popped up in my head, and what do you know? I found something to watch. Now hear me out. This anime is kinda somewhat sentimental to me, because this old friend I'm talking about was a very special someone who I haven't spoken with in years. Believe me when I say this, I am not a big anime head. I think the visual presentation and styles can be really good, especially when you compare it with the industry standard of Western animation, but there's a lot of things that can be a massive deal breaker for me. 1. I do not speak no Japanese. It's not a do or die type of thing for me, but if anything in the world had the option between a foreign language voice that I don't speak and an English voice, I'm almost always gonna go with the English, since I'm a native English speaker. And it's unfortunate when it comes to anime because a lot of dubs just sound so cringe to the point that it does become a deal breaker for me. 2. Society, or at the very least, as certain people still view anime enjoyers as weird or some form of incel or whatever. Now, I know the whole funny 2020 situation and certain cultural shifts have changed this perception in people quite a bit. At the very end of the day, with this whole culture war going on and how people's perceptions on people who enjoy certain types of things are being radically changed or influenced by the internet, I think it's just better to just not, if you catch my drift. Too many people still associate anime watchers and anime with its weird stereotypes, which cleanly leads me into 3. How could we forget? The horny characters. The cringy, edgy ass manner of speech every retard protagonist speaks with. That 9-year-old midget who just happens to be 1,000 years old as a crush to justify sexualizing them. Girls drawn with knockers that has more surface area than the moon. I think you get my point. But I made an exception for this anime because this friend of mine was actually a really normal. He went out of his way to disable the weird hentai ads on the site we watched on just to make me comfortable. The types of animes he was super into was shit like Attack on Titan, Vinland Saga, Fairy Tail, and other non-weird, just general fantasy titles like that. This guy, aside from crashing out over some stupid Pokemon meme, was a fairly normal guy. Now, the anime that we watched, that I'm just watching clips of on YouTube in the present moment, was a quote-unquote a school anime, meaning that it featured a large cast of characters. And while I'm watching these disconnected clips, I'm feeling not satisfied. It felt like the good old times. These were the days when I was still a kid and messing around with my online friend group and having movie nights with them and whatnot. Now, I have no idea what possessed me to go looking on certain pages of the interwebs, but I found myself reading shit about the characters in this show, who voiced them, their stories, and blah blah blah. I'm now on a wiki-style website specifically made for the show, and before you go looking, it was not fandom. I'm reading a couple of these pages and I end up clicking a few links, clicking a few more, onto this page, onto that page, yada yada yada. Though it's useless horseshit that won't help my life at all, I actually always enjoy a good read on something interesting. And I kinda wanted to read more, not so much because I was invested into the content, and more because I didn't have anything better to do. I ended up clicking on so many links that I found myself on something called AO3. If you know, you know. Because of the page of the wiki that I was on before, it had the name of this character I was looking at typed into a little search bar at the top. And I'm gonna call this character Miami. Because I didn't understand what type of site I was on, I went like, cool, more reading for me, and just clicked on the first thing I saw. And this was without noticing how every page had specific labels, but I'll get to that in due time. The way Miami was characterized in the original show was as this nerdy science girl, but also as this weird mage or witch thing. I really don't know. For the people with a damn master's degree in anime, I probably just gave it away, but at the same time I did it, so I probably have you confused by now. This little fanfiction starts off with her stirring a cauldron. Nothing big. She has some manual on the floor on how to summon an actual demon. Okay, off to an interesting start here. We got someone trying to spawn in a Lucifer. At this point, I'm starting to realize that it's an actual piece of fanfiction written by some overzealous fan. After trying a couple of times, Miami is successful and the demon springs out of the cauldron. This demon actually happens to be an old classmate of hers. What the oh, okay, I mean, what did I expect? I'm reading a damn fanfiction. The demon then starts going on and on about some sob story about how he doesn't have any friends or anyone to talk to or whatever, and he's all alone, and afterwards asks the girl for something. Mind you, I'm telling this story entirely from memory, so I'm not entirely sure of the specifics in the story, and I am not going back to the source to find out. Miami said that she basically didn't give a monkey's ass about the demon's life, and then was about dismissing him when the demon said one key thing: it's all downhill from here. This piece of crap I'm reading then mentions something along the lines of Miami's blazer coming off, which I didn't think too much of. I mean, hell, she summoned a whole ass demon, it must be hot in the room or something. The demon then commands Miami to take off her shirt, and it mentions a button of her shirt coming off. And then, what did it for me was when I heard a mention of a skirt sliding down. And this is all because of the demon's command, of course. At this point, my mind is going absolutely haywire. What the yo, what kind of smut am I reading here? Yo, I did not bargain for this. And because I'm not 13 years old, I could see exactly where this story was going. And I clicked out that bitch, only for me to be greeted by a lovely something. The labels I didn't read. This website I was on or whatever listed the piece of a monkey wee-wee I just read as not safe for whales. And by whales, I really do mean something else. Really. So yeah, moral of the story, be careful of the stuff you go looking for on the interwebs. After reading that, my perception of people who create and read fanfictions of just about any franchise out there changed, and I automatically associate that shit with a P word. So if you like reading fanfictions or perhaps you make them, I have nothing against you, and I'm sure you're decent people, but I have to tell you something, and that something is, I don't mess around with your bullshit! Freaky horny people on the interweb aside, if you made it to the end, I just want to say, I just want to say one thing. I appreciate you greatly. But yeah, same old YouTuber shit. Give that like button a special touching session as if it were your boo. Support one another out here. I'm clocking out this B, and that deuces.